Welcome back to the Quick Collective.
Wait. 10 seconds of silence. Ready, set, go.
I can't get over how uneven my hair is.
Okay.
It's whatever, I suppose.
It's whatever, I suppose. Welcome back, everybody, to the Quick Collective podcast. I ran out of breath. My name is Karbon.
And I'm Emily.
And welcome to the show.
So
Dilemma.
full disclosure,
Big dilemma.
we've had a bit of an issue
We have an issue.
audibly.
And it's an audio issue. So what happened was, actually don't know, but for some reason we can't hear ourselves on our headphones. So we sound muffled to each other, but you guys can hear us fine, so it's okay.
It's all good, but we decided to wear the headphones anyway, even though they're actually a hindrance at this point.
Yeah.
Because they're our security blankies.
Yeah, and also we wouldn't want to throw you off and all of a sudden give you a headphoneless show. That would just, I mean, how can you trust us? Anywho.
Yeah, so today we are talking about what does it mean to be an artist? Who qualifies? Do you have the paperwork? Are you registered?
Do you have the receipts to show proof of concept?
Yes. So my question for you to get the ball rolling
Okay.
is, do you consider yourself an artist now? And did you always consider yourself an artist? If the answer to the first one is yes.
So I consider myself an artist now. Yes.
Sweet.
But
Do you have the paperwork?
I have a portfolio.
It's like tax season soon, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, about that. So I had a lot of e-transfers happening. So
Just keep that. Keep it secret. Okay.
yeah, and
So you consider yourself an artist now?
yeah, but I don't think that I did before.
Okay.
Like I would consider myself other things. For example, like I would consider myself a dancer.
Interesting.
Or I
You
would
don't think
consider
that's
myself a photographer. No, I do.
art? Yeah.
But to say an artist seemed like too much for me.
Why is that?
Because I never felt like I was good enough to call myself anything. Like, okay, let me explain, because that sounds kind of sad.
A little bit.
Yeah. What I mean by that is that it would be really like there's so many people that are better than me at any particular thing.
Yeah.
So if I go the dance route and I want to call myself a popper, there's so many people in front of me that are just way better, smarter, have more experience, have more years, etc. So for me to say I'm a popper is a lot, and I typically don't say that, even though I should, because I acknowledge how many people have put in far more training than I have that can call themselves a popper. So I almost don't feel worthy to say it.
That's interesting. I feel like for me, it would be the word professional that would bother me there, but I feel like the word artist would still apply.
Yeah. So professional also is a bit of a little bit what we talked about last week, actually, about imposter syndrome. Like to say I'm a professional dancer seems very much like imposter syndrome to me.
Yeah.
Or a professional videographer or professional photographer. And it's not because I'm not. Because technically, when people pay you for something, you're therefore a professional.
Technically, Hakeem Optical's in my e-transfers. So I don't know how much more professional I could get. Catch your girl Karbon in the next Hakeem Optical commercial.
Yo, side note, fam, I did a commercial with Hakeem Optical.
She's a Hakeem Optical shorty.
I'm a Hakeem Optical shorty. And I danced in it professionally. And no, they didn't e-transfer me because they're a professional space.
Fair
that
enough.
I don't know personally.
Right.
And therefore wouldn't do that. And I pay my taxes. But anyway, yeah, you can, technically as long as you're earning a paycheck, you're a professional. But it still feels like imposter syndrome because, again, there's so many dancers or videographers or photographers or whatever that I look up to that are also professional, and then to kind of like put myself in that same I don't know, I guess line as them or on that same level. Just by using the words, like it feels very imposter syndrome to me. For me, it's like when I use the word artist, I'm putting myself on that same line that the people that I look up to are on, and that is what makes me feel like I'm almost like not worthy, is because there's so many people that I look up to that are that and that I consider that. So, you know, to like compare myself, I don't know. To me, that's like a hierarchy in my head, and I don't know how to like come down from it, I guess.
For me, it's a bit of, it's like half mental, half social, like what people consider an artist, but it's also like, is that just what I consider an artist to be? Like, for so long, I definitely didn't consider myself an artist.
Yeah.
I never would have called myself that.
I didn't either. Honestly, probably up until like last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever like called myself an artist up until last year.
Yeah.
And so it's been a long time because I've been dancing for a while. I haven't been doing photography and videography for that long, but overall, like I've been an artist for a long time.
Yeah.
But I never considered myself one up until recently. And I think that also has to do with like, in a way, you're like proving yourself to yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I felt like I've proven a couple things to myself. Therefore, I'm okay with calling myself an artist.
Like you're allowed to have that title now.
Yeah, in a way.
I also don't like that thought process.
Yeah,
though.
no, I'm not saying it's a good one, honestly.
Because I think I have gotten to like the same point as well where it's like I feel like career-wise, like I don't know, like I've made enough things, like I've released enough things, I'm like getting paid to make art, but it's like, so now I feel like I can call myself an artist, but I also don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that you have to have like either a certain amount of things published or a certain amount of things made or made it to this website or to that article or like whatever, or got hired by this company. Like I don't think that that's what makes you an artist. I think that's what makes you a professional.
Yeah.
But it's not what makes you an artist.
I agree. I think, honestly, I wish I had been calling myself an artist much longer.
Yeah, me too.
Because, like, I am and I have been.
Exactly.
And
so many people are that don't consider themselves
exactly.
that.
And I find so many things other than just, like, what you would typically consider art as art forms.
Yeah.
You know, I think so many of us are artists.
Yeah, 100%. There's so many different kinds of arts more than just, like, the common ones that people talk about, like dance, painting, sculpting, a musician, etc. Like there's so many different forms of art that for some reason people don't consider art, but it is. Okay, so we're gonna take our headphones off.
I don't know why it's like hurting my ears.
We tried. We really gave it a good shot, and we tried.
My
but
apologies, everyone.
We sound too muffled to ourselves,
and I keep getting lost in what we're saying. I'm like,
me too. I keep losing my train of thought because I can only hear me really.
Yeah,
and it puts me in this headspace like I'm in a tunnel and like I'm not having a conversation with you.
Yeah, same.
Moving on. Do you consider yourself an artist?
That's a good question. I think basically the same as you. Like up until this year, I probably wouldn't have called myself an artist, and sadly I think it's because I've hit those marks of like validation, like social sort of validation of like what it means to be an artist. But I am realizing lately that like I don't like that, and I wish that I had felt comfortable calling myself an artist way longer in my life. And for me it was like either I have to go to art school, I have to
thing, right?
Yeah, I have to go to school, I have to sell pieces of art, I have to have released pieces of art in order to call myself that. But it's like
the funny thing is that none of those things is what makes you an artist. Like going to school for it doesn't make you an artist. Getting like a certain job doesn't do that either. Or getting your work published someplace also doesn't make you an artist. What makes you an artist is everything leading up to that moment, actually. Yeah. Like every part of it.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is that if you're a painter, for example, it's pretty much like from the moment that you buy like your first set of art supplies up until the moment that you sell like your first piece. But typically it's not up until you sell that first piece or get that first publishment or whatever that you even consider yourself one.
Yeah.
But it was really like that whole time leading up to it, you were an artist the whole time.
Yeah. And I think for me, a lot of it also had to do with like self-confidence as well. Like I've had sort of like when I was younger, I 1000% would have called myself an artist.
Really?
Yeah. 1000%. I was like so confident in my creativity when I was younger. Like I wanted to be a fashion designer and I'd planned out my whole like fashion house. Like I had imaginary employees. Yes, I had imaginary employees and like I would draw it all the time and I would buy all these like fashion magazines. Like I was obsessed with it and I would go to school and I'd be dressed so strangely. And like I broke my ankle once because I was wearing like high heel boots in grade 5. Like, yeah.
Anything for the art. You broke your ankles.
Yeah.
This bitch broke her ankles.
Yo, you're breaking ankles.
Trying to wear some heels.
But
hello.
Honestly, though, it was through puberty and like into high school, like throughout all of high school, I just started feeling more self-conscious with myself.
Yeah. Puberty really does a number on you, huh? As you're like forming yourself into this like young adult, it crushes all of your confidence.
Totally. I really lost who I was during that time. It was just like so much self-consciousness, if that's a word. Like I was just feeling so self-conscious that I wanted to sort of blend in, but also like fit in, I guess. Yeah. You know, I started buying all the same clothes.
You start to like suppress your creativity because you just want to blend in.
Yeah, and you lose what makes you, which is like such a painful thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I really lost my creativity because the second you stop being who you are, you're also not thinking in that mindset and you're not coming up with creative ideas. And near the end of high school, when I was like, okay, where do I want to go to school? Like, what do I want to do? I was like, well, I'm a creative person, right? Mm-hmm. But like, I haven't done anything creative in so long. Mm-hmm. And I was like, do I still want to do that? Like, I feel like I had lost myself. And like I started taking art classes in high school so that I could try and like get into something creative. And my high school art teacher almost failed me. Like I got like I got like a 60%.
Jeez, that's harsh.
Yeah, man. And she would like honestly like shit on me like every chance she had. Like every single assignment she would shit on me on it. Like it wasn't right to her. And I just like at that point I did not consider myself an artist at all anymore. And like I think that's sort of what drove me towards going to like business school. You know, and it's just like I didn't feel like an artist anymore. And I was like, well, I guess I can still be in fashion, but I have to be like on the business side, not the creative side.
Well, honestly, that kind of reminds me of what happened like when I went to university and like throughout high school. Mm-hmm. And it also like makes me start to rethink the real reason why I went to university for the career that I did.
Really?
Yeah, it makes me like start to question it because so I went to university for engineering, electrical engineering, and
that adds up.
I did that because A, I was good at it, so you know you tend to do what you're good at. B, I liked it, I didn't dislike it. Okay. And I did enjoy aspects of it, especially the physics aspect. I wasn't passionate about it, obviously, but I liked it, you know? So I was like, okay, I'll go to school for that. Yeah. But now I'm starting to like rethink that perhaps subconsciously, like hidden deep beneath, that potentially part of the reason could have been that I like suppressed my creativity, and therefore, because it was so suppressed, and I thought, I can't make it a career out of this. I'm probably not good enough to try this anyway. So I might as well like pick the next thing that I like and that I'm good at, which was engineering. Mm-hmm. So because like, honestly, when I was in high school, like I always like, I looked at the dance team and I was like, wow. I was like, man, if only I was good enough to be on that team. Mm-hmm. And I always like envisioned myself in it. I always wished I was in it. I always like told myself like, should I go try out? Maybe I should go try out. Nah, I'm not gonna try out. Aww. And then I never did.
Yeah.
But I always kind of like admired the dance team and I wanted to be them essentially, but I never thought that I would be like good enough to go in, because a lot of those kids that were on the dance team were kids that were like, they were training like every day, like their parents paid for their classes to go to like a studio. Studios are expensive. Like I didn't have that, you know? I didn't have the money to go to like a studio and train, so I thought there was no way that I could ever be a dancer. And that wasn't the case. Yeah. Like come now in my mature age of 26.
An old woman.
Just decaying every second.
I really feel that way.
It does feel that way. But the point is that I think I suppressed it through high school because I also wanted to fit in and I didn't want to draw too much attention to myself. And therefore I went to school for engineering. And then thankfully, I did try dancing. And I did, you know, I am where I am now, doing art every day. But that could have easily not been the case. And it's actually not the case for a lot of people. Yeah. Which makes me sad.
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to sort of share that quote from Aziel, because it really did hit with me. And like, that's kind of what inspired today's podcast. Oh, yeah. So Aziel is the new CEO of Conscious Economics.
Shout out Aziel!
Yeah, which is the company that we work at. So Aziel said something, we were having like a team meeting and it got kind of like a therapy session. Like it just felt like group counseling or group therapy.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was really nice. It was like bonding moments. But she said, you're born knowing who you are and are living trying to remember it.
And we were like...
Snap,
damn,
snap,
girl,
snap.
You got it right.
Yeah.
Snap, snap, snap. Yeah, that was a good quote.
It did really hit me though, because I think that's something that I've been struggling with a lot over the past like several years, because I really knew who I was when I was little. Like I feel like most of us know who we are when we're little because we're fearless and you know, we're so honest. Like little kids, you go to little kids and you're like, hey, do you want to do this? And then if they don't want to, they'll just be like, no. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. That hurt a little bit. Like, it's so embarrassing.
Hurt my feelings just a little, but it's okay.
Hey Sadie, do you want to go play in the basement? No.
Okay. I'll go just play.
Do you want to color in your new coloring book? No.
Okay. I'll just sit here and you tell me what you want to do, okay? Yeah, but anyway, like we're confident, we're honest, like we don't care.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, we do know who we are as kids. And then throughout the process of puberty, I feel like we lose it and everything's confusing, and you know, now you're worried about friends and cliques and popularity and whatnot, and then everything just gets jumbled. And then for some people, they, you know, are lucky enough to like re-find it or remember it rather, but some people never do.
It's so sad, adulthood, man. So
sad. Yeah, dude, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, dude. It feels weird. Like my ears are out, and I'm just. I'm too. Crazy. I'm crazy. Look at my hair.
I feel a little bit slutty.
That's what my hair is doing. Okay, and this is my ears are out. I'm showing a lot of skin right now.
So Aziel's quote really like resonated with a lot of us, but I found within our team at work and also just like in the greater public, I think potentially because of COVID, people are feeling more comfortable calling themselves artists because I think maybe we've had all more time to find ourselves.
I feel like pretty much everybody has an inner artist.
I completely agree. I feel like everyone could call themselves an artist.
Yeah. Because like who doesn't enjoy some form of art? Like who doesn't enjoy either music or watching Netflix or I don't know, watching YouTube videos? Or
does watching YouTube videos make you an artist?
No, I mean like if you enjoy that kind of stuff, there's a reason for it, and it's because of your connection to art. Like you wouldn't enjoy music if you weren't an artist. Like,
you think so?
I think so. Because how could you enjoy art?
I think the artist is the person who makes the art.
Yes, no.
I think anyone can enjoy it.
I just mean, that's not what I mean. I'm not saying like listening to music makes you an artist. Yeah. It's more so you have a hidden artist.
Oh, okay.
and I'm just using music as an example. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But if I say don't create any art,
Yeah.
okay? My name is Joe. I go to my 9 to 5 and I'm an accountant.
I'm an accountant.
Nobody asks you questions when you say you're an accountant.
I'm an accountant. Mm-hmm.
And so I don't make art whatsoever.
Come on, Joe.
But I listen to music and I like it and I'm bumping.
Mm.
How could you enjoy art if you didn't have a hidden artist inside of you?
Interesting.
And Joe's art could be something else. It doesn't have to be music.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you recognize how good art is because you have an inner artist.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's like a baby artist.
Yeah.
Does that make sense though? Like you kind of have to have an inner artist in order to see art and enjoy it?
Maybe. I think definitely artists enjoy other art more. Like the more that you make your own art, I think you can appreciate other people's art.
But I feel like those are people who are more in tune with their artist self.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Like people who make art
mm-hmm.
and don't just consume art.
Yeah.
I think that they can make art because they're more in tune with their inner artist.
Mm.
But I feel like everyone has that.
Yeah.
It's just that some people really like are more in tune and they like pull themselves up through that art pathway. Am I miming good? I'm miming right now.
You're miming mediocrely. Yeah, for all you people just listening, Karbon's miming like super mediocre right now.
That's me pulling myself up through my inner artist pathway.
Yeah.
Am I just saying nonsense?
5
or
out
do
of
you
10.
get what I'm saying? Okay. Well.
No, I get what you're saying, but the miming is 5 out of 10.
Okay, I guess that's fair and square.
Fair and square.
Yeah. You guys let me know in the comments if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I would like to hear from other people because I don't know if I 1000% agree with that. I feel like anyone can enjoy art.
Even if they don't have some sort of inner artist?
But I do think everyone has an inner artist, though.
That's what I'm saying then. Then you agree.
Maybe, but I don't know.
What you just said is in agreement with what I just said.
I don't think it is, though, because
I don't... You're mad. You're a mad lad.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay, just because I'm saying that I agree that everyone has an inner artist doesn't mean that I agree that because... It doesn't mean that I agree that because someone can enjoy art, it makes them have an inner artist. That's not it.
No, it's the opposite. Because they have an inner artist, they can enjoy art.
Okay.
Okay. In the comments, you guys let me know if you know what I mean. She doesn't. I know what I mean. So I'm curious to know if anyone else gets me or if I'm crazy.
I think another really big piece of the puzzle of why people don't feel like they can call themselves an artist is because if, say, someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, so like, what do you do? What do you do for a living?
I'm an accountant.
Doesn't that make you nervous to say I'm an artist?
Yeah.
Because it feels like there's a lot of follow-up questions.
There's a lot of follow-up questions, and there's also at least I feel a bit of a stigma around that. Yeah. Because sometimes when you say, oh, I'm an artist, they're obviously going to ask like what kind of art, which is fine, but then after that it's like
I won't allow it. Just kidding.
After that it kind of goes into not as a direct question, but kind of bouncing around the idea of like, well, how do you make money then?
Yeah. Like, how do you get paid?
Yeah.
How does that work for you?
Yeah. Like, how do you do it?
There's no way you can make money off of that.
Do you think that part of that stigma potentially has to do with like the concept of being an artist as a profession to just be like too good to be true for a lot of people? Because there's so many people that use art as like a hobby.
Yeah.
Or is just like a thing that they do on the side. So my question then is like, does this then become something where it's like, oh, like you get paid to like make paintings or you get paid to dance? Like, how does that work? That sounds too good to be true. Because that can definitely be like a thought.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's because society tells us that like there's only this idea of the starving artist and like there's no way that like you could like do that professionally. And I think it's because all of us have had it ingrained in our minds from our parents. It's like, and from like their parents, like generationally, is like you can't make money off of that. Like you need to go into like a safe career, and it's because your parents love you that they're saying that. It's like they want you to be able to take care of yourself.
They want you to like be able to sustain your potentially like a future family or whatever.
I will say though, I think part of it a little bit is also potentially a bit of like jealousy or a bit of resentment because I'm saying this from my own experience. Like in my first couple of years of business school, I guess like I was feeling this when I looked at this person that I knew from high school who was like starting to be successful with their art. And I was like, and to me, I was like, my art.
You got jealous.
Yeah, I was like, my art could like meet that same level. Like I felt like I was as good, but I just never believed in myself. Like I didn't try, but the only difference was that person believed in themselves and like they actually tried, you know, and it worked for them. Yeah. And then at that point I was like, what am I doing? And I think maybe that's a realization that a lot of people are having. It's like, what am I doing? I could be doing something I really love.
I think, if you were to like draw positives from quarantine and everything, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about this before, but it was 1000%. Like the people that are like, you know what, I'm gonna start making art again, or I'm gonna try for the first time even, and you know, maybe they've always wanted to play the guitar or paint or do pottery, and they're actually starting to do it. If that's the case, then that's just further proof that everyone is an artist or has an inner artist that is maybe like unrealized and and it could be that like you're an artist, like you're very disconnected from it, so it feels very difficult to get yourself into any form of art, but I feel like it is there for everybody.
I'm very interested to see how like not like Gen Z, but like how the next generation, I don't know what that's going to be called, but the next generation of kids are going to grow up to be like is it going to be an influx of artists?
The COVID babies?
Because at this point, I feel like I would encourage my kids to do whatever the F they want.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure. I would hope that my hypothetical kid tries pretty much everything and just follows their interests.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something happened because like, you know, in the olden days, you know those times, the olden days?
What?
You know when you'd wake up and you're like, oh shit. It's the olden days.
Do you think they did that?
They did it.
They did that?
They did that.
Do you think they like...
They knew they were in the olden days.
You know, okay, I have one thing to say about this. You know how we're always like, oh my god, it's 2020, like, how are we still doing this? Like,
right.
The girl can ask out the guy. It's 2020.
Oh my god.
We've been watching Love Island, and they always say that. It's like, we've gone through all the seasons, so they're like, it's 2018, the girl can ask out the guy. It's 2019, like, girls can have sex too. Girls can be sexual too. It's 2020. Girls can do that. And
that's literally every year. But that's so irrelevant to what we're talking about.
No, I'm bringing this in because, like, do you think they were like, it's 1750. Like, I can ride my own horse.
What? What? What does this have to do with anything?
Look how long my neck looks.
It's really long. Whoa. Whoa, that's so long. That's like...
Keep going forever.
Come back. Whoa. So no, probably. Yeah.
You don't think they would do that?
No, they probably... They probably did, actually. It's 1750. I can ride my own horse.
I can plow the field. That sounds dirty.
So back in the olden days,
yeah,
painters were like godly.
But back in
you didn't even let me finish.
But back in the olden days, I think that's when the rules of artistry like began, because you had to be like so classically trained to be an artist and to like do all these big paintings.
No,
like if
but
you
there
think
was
about
artists-
like Michelangelo and his big ceiling.
As long as humans have existed, art has existed. Like cave drawings is art, and there's sculptures, ancient sculptures. The thing is that for artists, if we don't think back to like cave painting days, not that olden days, like slightly newer days than that, like going back to like Michelangelo,
how do we discovered blue?
going back to Michelangelo. I don't know, I lost my point there. Going back to
I think it might be.
no, I'm just trying to remember my sentence before you interrupted me that first time.
I can't tell if there's a hole in my boot or my feet are just getting really sweaty. You smell kind of bad.
Going back to Michelangelo.
What do you want to say, Legend?
Artists were desired, is my point. They were seen as like very high level people.
That was a good comment, buddy.
Yeah.
That was worth all of this.
So that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, it was worth it.
Anyway, also, artists were like gods to people back then.
Were they?
I don't know.
I don't
It seems
think so.
like it because of how much like recognition they got.
I don't think so.
They were highly rated. They were like, "Oh, I rate you still."
You still fum.
They're like, "Oh, Michelangelo, fum, come
okay.
here, come here, come
Do-
here."
Do a Toronto man's, but in like the 1700s. Go.
How can I? What, my brethren? What say you? What you saying, shorty? Yo, I rate you still. I rate your work still.
Good at
Try
that
right
one.
now.
Yo, shorty, you done know.
We should end this pod. What is this podcast even about?
It's about like what constitutes an artist.
Oh,
So at the end of the day, let's wrap up this thought. Okay.
wrap it up.
What do you think should be included in the paperwork to call yourself an artist? What does it take to get the ID?
Just to make some art. That's it. Doesn't even
Fair
have
enough.
to be like good,
Mm-hmm.
but it probably is.
You know what I would love?
Because every piece of art is good in its own way.
You know what I would love? You know how on like first dates, like anytime you meet someone, it's always like, so what do you do? Instead of like telling people what you do for work, I'd like if we just shared our hobbies. Oh, like I'm a big Harry Potter enthusiast. It's like, oh, do you get paid to do that? Oh, no. Why would you think that? Should we do that?
No, it's high quality.
It's good, yes.
Um.
From Minnesota.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, I'm just a Harry Potter enthusiast from Minnesota. I feel like I would move to Minnesota and I would just talk like this.
Yeah.
I would go into the store and I would feel like it's instead of, you know, when you go to someone's country and you talk in their language, when I go to Minnesota I talk in this accent because it's just showing respect. You know, if you're from Minnesota and you're watching this, let me know if you feel respected. So what constitutes an artist?
Oh God. You just have to make art and that's it. And as long as it feels good, then it's art. Like as long as like while you're making it, you feel something. You feel an emotion. Whether it's sad or happy or frightful or whatever. Or maybe an indescribable emotion. Like as long as you're feeling something while you're making it, you're creating art. In my opinion.
I think so as well. And I think many things can be art too. Like you said, it's like just if you're feeling like you're releasing emotion,
Yeah.
or you're generating emotions while you're creating something,
Yeah.
I think you're an artist.
Okay, let's go back to the example of an accountant.
Maybe your spreadsheet is your art, sir.
Honestly, it might be. And okay, I'm not an accountant. I have no passion for accounting. So if I were to start calculating numbers and doing accountant things, that wouldn't be me creating art because I don't feel anything from it. So that in particular for me is not a form of me specifically making art.
Yeah.
So I have to go to the outlets that like speak to me the most, which is dance, videography, and photography, right? But just because that didn't inspire me doesn't mean it's not art or that it can't be. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
Sick.
I like that. Anyway, I think that's where we're going to end the podcast off this week. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of silly banter back and forth.
Just silly banter, yeah.
Silly banter.
You just get on.
Yeah. Me and you. Yeah, I think we just got good banter, yeah.
Yeah, proper banter. I think we crack on and our conversations are like, you're just like natural.
Yeah,
it just flows.
I'm excited to see where this goes. Hopefully it works on the outside,
Yeah, hopefully it works on the outside. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the video, make sure to hit that like button if you're on YouTube. And whether if you're whatnots, if you're on YouTube or if you're on the podcast app and whatnots, you can hit subscribe regardless. It's available on both. With all that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching and we will see you in the next pod. Peace!
Bye. Go long neck.